You guys are in for a really special treat. I apologize, it's a little informal, but I know Grant really, really well, so he asked me to introduce him. For those of you that do know him, the braces guy here, I think he's got like 4.2 billion followers right now. Grant Collins is probably one of the most humble, intelligent, and thought-provoking people I know. We went to school together, so he was my, what we call little brother at Mayo Clinic, 2 years behind me, but man, so many years ahead of me in the way this guy thinks. And so he's way more than Instagram and social media, which I know he's really well known for. But what he's going to talk about today with leadership and empowering his team and the culture is going to be a really, really special treat. So let me give it up for Grant Collins.
All right, you guys hear me okay? Awesome. So this was my big brother in residency. He just did that spur of the moment, by the way. That was pretty awesome. Everything I learned in residency, and to this day, he's just a mentor to me. So if you haven't gotten to know Jim Stork before, definitely chat with him. He's amazing. So today we're going to talk about leadership, patient experience, and employee empowerment. I feel like it's one of those topics where, I see this on a lot of different lineups for different conferences, and it's kind of like it's overused a little bit. And I never get super excited by seeing this stuff because it kind of seems like the same old stuff every time you go to it. But today, I'm hoping to provide you a little bit different perspective on some things that have helped our office grow over the last 5 years and really take home some tangible ways to put it into practice when you guys go back home. So a little bit about me, if you don't know me, my name's Grant Collins. From Rochester, Minnesota. I grew up there. It is freezing up there right now. So we're like, this is great weather for us right now down in Texas. But I grew up there, went to St. Olaf College for undergrad, played soccer there. Went to University of Minnesota for dental school, and then back to Rochester for my residency, where I went to Mayo Clinic for a 3-year residency there. When I was done with residency, I knew that we wanted to be in Rochester. My wife and I fell in love with the city. It's where I grew up. So we sent letters out everywhere, and we thought, gosh, we just want to find a job, and there was nothing available for us. So what we did is we kind of looked at each other and we thought, if we wanted to be in Rochester, we knew we had to open a business, which we both were freaked out, scared to death, because no one in my family is in business or dentistry, had no clue what I was doing. And so literally I Googled how to start a business. I'm not kidding, this is how we started. And we worked really hard, and leading up to the first day that we were open, December 17th of 2013, we got everything. We got our one employee ready to go. And the first day came, and can you guys guess how many people called on the first day? 0. Yeah, 0 people called on the first day. But the second day, can you guys guess? It was 1. My mom. She called. And so she called. I'm like, Mom, don't embarrass me. She's like, do you guys want lunch? And really the first few months were like that. And it was really a time where we were kind of freaked out. We had taken out this loan. We had nothing. And the first few months, just slowness in our clinic. And I remember having my aha moment several months in, and just after another long day, just kind of sitting at night and thinking, it's not about me. And up until that point, I had made it about me. And I thought, if I work hard, if I do this, then this will work out. Because that had really led to success in my past, through residencies, through dental school, through various things like that. So I had it wrong. And I remember from that point, everything became about serving others. It was about the way we interacted with the community, the way we hired, the way we interacted with our patients was all about service to others. And since that time, we have welcomed thousands of new patients through our door. We see over 100 patients a day in a very small office. I'll talk about that later. And we're thriving, and it's great, so we love it. But it's really that perspective change that helped us become what we are today. So this is our office. This is when we started, back in 2014. This was my wife and our one employee and myself, and we always thought the hashtag small but mighty. We always thought we're the smallest team in town, but we're going to work the hardest, and we're going to be like a bigger team in that way. So our team grew the next year. And we kept growing the next year. This was in 2017. This was just last year. We now have 17 team members that fit into 1,131 square feet. And it's not, I don't recommend it, but we've had to really hone in on efficiency to a whole new level and keep our customer service standards extremely high. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like a clown car when we leave at the end of the day, getting everybody out of the office. But we see over 100 patients a day. We see about 10 new patients a day. We have, our city population, you can see that up there, about 10 orthodontists in the city. So it's definitely a competitive environment for the city size, but we've grown and we're continuing to grow. We have 3 clinic chairs, 1 records room, and 1 TC. So we'll talk a little bit about that stuff today. But today I hope to help you guys kind of learn from my mistakes, learn from the things that we've done along the way to grow our business through a lot of these topics. We have a lot of stuff to go through, but I hope there's some things you can take away. So great customer service. This is the first thing we're going to talk. What does that even mean? Like customer service, is that a department? It's kind of weird, right? It's one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot. It's interesting. I know there's some orthodontists out here in these Facebook groups, and I'm in part of a lot of them too, but I've seen this before where you get the doctor that goes into the Facebook group and says, hey guys, what do? We've got a competitor down the street that says they're going to do it for $500 less, and they want us to match it. And then they always say this, but our service is better, right? It's like, I don't think there's any orthodontist in this entire country who doesn't say their service is better. And when they're asked to define it, this is where it gets interesting. It's usually stuff like, we're accommodating, we're friendly, stuff like that. And to me, that's kind of fascinating, because I think that those are kind of prerequisites for orthodontic offices, right? I don't think there's any orthodontic offices out there that are like, man, we're the unfriendly clinic, and there's gonna be jerks today because we're the $500 less. But I think every office out there is probably being like, yeah, we're friendly. Like, that's a prerequisite. So I don't think that's a differentiator. That is an important part, but you need to be able to clearly define what great service is. And if you can't, then are you the office like that? I don't know. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit today. But has anyone had any good, memorable customer service experiences lately? Anyone? Like even here? Maybe last night, go out to dinner, that was great. Do you mind sharing? What was yours like?
Lady down in the lunch and breakfast area, she is so kind and so nice.
Love it, super friendly. She smile, eye contact, pleasant sort of way. She enjoys her job, awesome. Yeah, you guys, everybody met her yet? The breakfast lady? Go meet her again, tomorrow morning, right? How about bad service? Who's had bad service in the last week? Yeah? Anyone care to share what theirs were like? You don't have to call out the company name, but like when they flew here, did anybody have a unfriendly? There we go. Yeah, what was yours? Sure. Oh, is that right? Oh no. And they were super friendly about the whole thing, right? I'm just kidding. Right. Yeah. So not communicating, right? So there's a lot of times you have those experiences out there that are good or bad. There's a lot of times, especially in the airline industry, you go up and the person that's checking you in, they're like, next. They're not even looking at you, like, next. And you're like looking down, you're like, is it me? Or is it like, they're not even giving you eye contact, no smile, no pleasant tone of voice, just little things like that. So one tip that I have, this is something to take home for the doctors out there especially, one pro tip for us is take the experiences that you've had outside the industry, outside of orthodontics, and if you can take those and bring them back into your office, it's life-changing. It really is. So one of the best things that we've ever done as a team, the best conference, if you will, is last year. Some of the doctors aren't gonna like me telling the teams this, but last year we went to a Ritz-Carlton resort for a weekend down in Florida to learn. We weren't going to a conference, we just went there. And the goal of the trip was this. As I said, everybody, we're gonna bring journals, we got journals. Everybody spend the entire weekend experiencing every little point that we do, right? Everything that happens to you, how they greet you when you walk in the door, how they take care of issues for you, how they walk you to the bathroom, how they show you the pool. When you have a question, all that stuff, every little detail, write it down, good or bad. And then we came back and we talked about it. And we learned more from that than anything I've ever experienced. Because Ritz-Carlton, you think they know a thing or thing about customer service? Absolutely. So learning from outside the industry is a good thing. Disney's another good one, Starbucks. There's great companies out there that we can learn from, but your ability to take what your experience is there and then extrapolate that and bring it back and understand what's going on and then be able to think about how to incorporate that into an orthodontic clinic is super, super important and really powerful. We will talk about that more today, but I do highly recommend doing experiences with your team and talking through it. And that's super, super important. Exceeding guest expectations. This is the first thing I would recommend to have great customer service, right? Seems simple. Look at that word for a second, guest, not your expectations, not the orthodontist's expectations, exceeding your guest's expectations. Jeff was talking earlier about, set managing expectations, right? If you're gonna say 18 months, you've set the expectation, so either you're gonna exceed it, you're gonna meet it, or you're not gonna meet it. It's simple. He set that expectation. That's a great idea. So, in my hometown, there is, who's been to Dairy Queen? You guys like ice cream? Please? Yes. If you don't, please leave. I'm just kidding. You can stay here. But there's a Dairy Queen in our city that literally I will drive past every other ice cream place in the entire city to get to Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen North is what it's called. And so I asked myself, well, why am I driving past every other ice cream place to get to this? The reason is they give you so much ice cream, like tons, 2 or 3 inches higher than the top of the cup. This isn't representation. This is just a picture of ice cream. But they give us 2 or 3. When you order the Blizzard, you guys like Blizzards, right? They're amazing, right? So when you order it, they give it like 2 or 3 inches higher. When you get it, you're like, whoa. Take a picture, post it on Instagram or whatever. So it's simple, right? The analogy is simple. This is such a brilliant way to look at this as far as exceeding expectations, is the top of the cup is the expectation. It's easy. If I owned an ice cream spot, I would totally be telling every single employee, fill it up 2 or 3 inches higher, you've exceeded the expectation every single time. So the top of the cup is the cost, and the value you're getting is 2 or 3 inches higher. Amazing. That's why I'm driving past 2 or 3 other ice cream stores to get to Dairy Queen North. So what would happen if you filled it up just to the top? What would happen there? You think I'd be talking about it right now? No. Think I'd talk to anybody about it? Or drive past other ice cream places to get there? No way. You're meeting the expectation. No one will be talking about you when you're in that category. How about below the top of the cup? What happens there? I know, some of you are like, I'm going to drive back around, and I'm going to tell you, hey, you didn't give me enough ice cream. I paid for up to the top. I can't believe this. People are going to talk about you at that point too, right? But in the wrong way. So the 2 places where people will talk about you is if you don't meet the expectation or if you exceed it. You don't want to be mediocre in the middle. You don't want to be the one that no one's talking about you. You really don't want to be the one where someone's talking about you in a bad way. So really, to understand expectations like this, you have to understand what the guests' expectations are so that you can exceed them. By the way, who calls guests? What companies call their clients guests, their customers guests? Disney, yeah. We're going to talk a lot about Disney today. They are a brilliant company, by the way. Yeah, so exceeding expectations. You have to know what they are in order to exceed them. So often, as orthodontists, we get into this mindset where, well, shouldn't the patient know? They should know. They should know that we're busy. They should know that we're 6 weeks out. Should they? Did you set that expectation? Did you talk to them? So communication becomes super important in that realm, because if you are not setting and exceeding expectations consistently and routinely, you're in trouble as a business. We went to that Ritz-Carlton trip. They actually had, that weekend, I remember, they had contaminated water. So they had to give everyone bottles of water all weekend. You couldn't drink anything out of the tap. So, my family ran out of water, so we called down to the front desk. And they're like, how many do you need? And I said, 6. I need 6. They're like, how about 12? Like, cool. They just exceeded it right away, right? Guess how many they sent up? 24. Awesome. It's so simple, right? It's so simple. Start thinking of your practices that way, right? Every little touch point you do, if the expectation's 6, you got to find a way to deliver 24. And you have to understand what that expectation is in order to do that. So this was I was looking for a photographer the other day back in Rochester, and I stumbled upon this review because I'm reading reviews, right? I see this. So this basically, it's a 2-star review, but it's just a simple, concept that we've been talking about, right? They expected the photos earlier. It's now Tuesday. They don't have the photos, but you can read that. They expected them on Sunday. Now they're going to be late getting their Christmas cards out. So think about that for a second. It's just a game of expectations. Again, this is like we're not filled up to the top of the cup. So you shouldn't be surprised by a review like this that shows up. You shouldn't, as a business owner. So now they have to do something called immediate service recovery, which we're going to talk about later and what that means. But in this situation, if you have to set realistic expectations when you do this, right? So if you're the photographer in this case, and there's no way you're going to be able to get them these photos by Sunday, you shouldn't set that expectation. It should be, hey, I think we're going to be able to get these photos to you by next Wednesday. And then when you deliver them on Tuesday, they're giving you a 5-star review. Oh, they were a day early and we loved them. Versus this, you're like, hey, I think maybe we can get to you by Wednesday or Sunday. We hope so. And now it's Tuesday and they're not here. There's your 2-star review. It's simple, right? So now we have to service recover here. So if I were this photographer, the first thing I do is take this conversation offline, thank them for their feedback, right? And we'll talk about this stuff later. But I'd probably be calling this patient up and saying, hey, I'm sorry we've let you down in this case. We're gonna overnight ship them. Can you give us your address list? We're gonna overnight ship them to your entire Christmas list. And we're gonna give you a canvas photo printout on us. And we appreciate you letting us know your feedback, and we hope to serve you in the future. You got to service recover out of this at this point, right? So that's kind of just something to understand with over-promising and under-delivering, okay? So you never want to be in this category. You want to realistically promise and then over-deliver. Who's seen this documentary? You guys seen this? Fire Festival, you heard of this? Yeah. I think you all know where I'm going with this. So Billy McFarland decided to tell everyone he's going to get a private island, right, in the Bahamas and hold this big music festival. And it was going to be this luxury experience where they were going to get the best in the music industry, the top names everywhere. People would be chartered in on these amazing jets. They'd come to this place. They'd have these villas on the beach waiting for you. I think that the promo video was like just a bunch of, I think it was a lot of Instagram or supermodels jet skiing and playing with pigs or something in the water. I don't know what that means, but it seemed luxurious. And they promised the best of dining, the best of everything. You guys have seen the photos of what happened, right? This is where they showed up. This is what happened. Cheese sandwiches, FEMA tents. They didn't even have enough tents for everybody. And there's your concierge service. Perfect example of over-promising and under-delivering. People are talking about them to the tune of a giant Netflix series in jail time. So I would say this is not the category you want to be in unless you want a Netflix series like that. So what are wow moments? You guys know what that means? Wow moments. It's from Disney. Again, a lot of this is not new ideas. They're from great companies. But wow moments. How this is defined, if you're writing stuff down, you can write this down, but it's stepping off task as long as it's on purpose. What does that mean? So what it means is it's empowering your team members to step off task from what they're doing, so whatever their regular job is, as long as it lines up with your greater purpose and your mission for your company, and empowering them to do that, right? So if it's like the classic example, somebody's not behind the front desk working at this point because they're out engaging with a child that's playing with the toy, and you're relating to that person, and the doctor comes up and says, why aren't you working? I'm paying you to work. That could have been a wow moment, right? But the doctor's not recognizing that. So stepping off task as long as it's on purpose. So we had a 12-year-old that came in, and he was in the new patient chair, and I remember him kind of looking at me and just would not say a word, right? He gave me eye contact right at the beginning and then not again the rest of the entire appointment. And I remember trying to engage him and trying to everything I could, wouldn't even look at me, wasn't excited about braces, wouldn't talk to me, barely opened his mouth for the exam. And I remember thinking, man, I don't want to give up on this kid, but I'll do my best. And it just wasn't going well. So the first appointment back, he came back, and I remember, learning of something that he actually was interested in. He still wouldn't give me eye contact, but I found out he likes wood carving. And I thought, wow, this is cool. Maybe I'm going to ask him about it. So I talked to him a little bit. He gave me a little bit, not much, still kind of the same thing, look straight ahead, not giving eye contact. And I asked him, do you have a picture of any of your wood carvings? And he reluctantly reached into his pocket, and he pulled out his phone, and he showed me the picture of one of his wood carvings. And I said, oh, this is super cool. Can I show some of the other people in the office? So we had other people in the office kind of gather around. They're like, oh, this is really cool. That's really neat you do this. So the next time he came in, he actually brought one of his wood carving pieces in to show us at the front. And we did the same thing. We said, oh, this is so good. Is it okay if we show some people? We all gathered around. We stopped what we were all doing. Remember, we see 104 patients a day, at least. But we're okay. We're stepping off task because this is in line with our purpose and our mission. We're doing this. So we all came over. We're like, oh, this is so cool, super cool. This is amazing. You are so talented. Next time he comes in, guess what he brought? Another wood carving that he did of our office logo. And there it is. It's hanging in our front right now. And super cool. The same kid that hated my guts the first time he came in. Now he brought this in, showed me how to hang it up. He's still kind of the same personality, but we could be the only people in his life that really take a moment to care about what he's doing in his personal life. So again, Doctors, encourage your team to do this. This is your service. This is it right here. The brace is going on, all that stuff. That's super important. That's what we do. But you got to know why you do it. If you don't know why you do it, you don't empower your team members to be able to step off task at times if it's in line with your vision. And if you're the one that's going up and be like, no, get back to work, you got to encourage your team members to be doing this stuff all the time. If someone says, hey, I got a wedding that I had last week, first thing you should be doing is what? Pictures, right? Can you show us pictures? Oh, you look so beautiful. So allow yourself those opportunities. It's not all the time. You're not off task all the time, but look for those opportunities and then celebrate them as a team. And they're called wow moments, right? Another example of a wow moment too, that one of our team members, we do this stuff all the time at our office. We talk about these wins, but another one of my team members had learned of a new puppy that a patient got, right? So she's so excited. She's showing pictures of the new puppy. And so our clinical assistant decided it'd be super cool to write a card to the new puppy with dog treats and mail it to her. And again, how cool is that? It's so neat that she would want to do something like that. So she wrote it to Sam, the new Bernese mountain dog, or whatever it was. We have those up in Minnesota. They're snow dogs. But it really just like, dear Sam, we hope you like the treats here. I love seeing pictures of you, and something weird at the end, like bark, bark, or I don't know. But that is, again, allowing your team to step off task and empowering them to do so, right? And we should be celebrating that. And they shouldn't have to come to you as a doctor every single time they recognize a moment like that to do it. So learning from outside the industry, we talked about when we went to Ritz-Carlton, we learned a lot there. A lot of what we learn as far as customer service, a lot of the things we currently practice are things that I've learned just from personal experiences. That's it. And if you can find that personal experience and relate it back to an orthodontic clinic, it's super powerful. So, for instance, I was scrolling on Facebook, like a lot of you scroll, and I stopped at something. If you guys are ever scrolling social media and you stop at something, the first thing you should ask yourself is, why did I just stop? It's the first thing you should ask yourself. Because we're in a massively distracted world right now, and if there's something that caught your attention enough to stop, it's probably good. Whatever it is, it drew your attention, right? So I stopped at something, and it was a video. I know you guys are going to judge me, but it was an ice cream video again. But there was a line out the door at this place, right? This ice cream shop. And I was asking myself, well, why is there a line out the door for this ice cream place? They must have either amazing ice cream or there's something they're doing that's different than a normal ice cream place. Well, I saw, and it was they were showing customers how they made their ice cream. It wasn't just go get it in the back and bring it forward. They were showing the process, right? It was one of those where you get the slab of ice cream on like a little frozen, have you guys seen this? And they use the little scraper and roll it up, and they present it that way. So it was huge a few years ago, and it's still, pretty big now, but the line was out the door. So I thought in my head, I'm like, how cool is that? How can we incorporate that into an orthodontic clinic? So I thought people are lining up for the process. Does that make sense? So we do interact bonding at our office. So I thought, okay, this is cool. We can run with this. And so I thought people, when they get their impressions made, right, we set up all the braces ahead of time, and when they come back, we'll have trays ready for them to start the process of getting their braces on. We have that time in between. We can show them how we're making everything. So the first thing I did was record a video of how the indirect bonding process works. So there's a video of me setting up the braces. So now, when they get the impression, they sign up for treatment. We're not just leaving them, we're showing them the process. This is the ice cream making process, right? We're showing them. So every single person who signs up for treatment is getting an email from me, automated, right away, it's going to everybody, that says, hey, welcome to the family. We're super excited, welcome to Collins Orthodontics. I wanted to show you, I thought you'd be interested. Here's how we're setting up your case. We're pumped for you to start. It's looking great, and I'm gonna show you, here's what's going on. People love this stuff. I do the same thing with Invisalign setups. If you take a scan, I'm showing them a setup, right? And then another one of my staff members is getting an email, an automated email that says, hey, send a card to this person that says, hey, Dr. Collins and I are working really hard behind the scenes to set your case up. It's looking amazing. Can't wait to see you soon. We're not just letting them come to us, we're showing them the process. I learned that from watching an ice cream video. Does that make sense? Right? Learn from outside the industry. You can learn it in so many different areas. You just have to pay attention. Also, I went to Ritz another time because I learned a lot from them just being there. And I called down, I was at my last day there, and I was really kind of tired. It was a long wait until my flight that night, and I asked them, I said, hey, can you guys extend my checkout time? Got nowhere to go. and my flight's not till later. So they were booked, but they didn't say they're booked. They said, I'm sorry, Dr. Collins, we are fully committed, to other guests at this time, but what we can do is this. We can get you a locker to put your stuff in. We're going to get you a bag to put your onboard clothes that you're going to use for the plane. So you have those ready to go. If you want to go down to the beach, we're going to get you a card to access everything on the premises. If you go to the beach and you want to come back and get anything laundered, let us know, and we'll have everything ready to go. Do you think I was happy when I got off the phone? Right? Okay, cool. So I was like, how can we take that concept and bring it back to an orthodontic clinic? So first of all, fully committed. That was awesome, right? Booked versus fully committed. Who uses the term fully committed in their practice? Does anyone use that when somebody calls and is like, I want to get in today at 3? It's life-changing. That's the first thing you should do. Don't use the words booked or busy. It makes people feel like, they're not important. But heaven forbid you break a commitment you've made to another patient, because they wouldn't want that either. It's amazing. I mean, I got team members, the pushback's way lower when you're using that, right? Fully committed. Also, what did they do after that? They said, we are fully committed, but what we can do for you, sweet, found another solution. Right? Who's been on the phone with someone where the solution wasn't what you had in mind, and then they don't give you anything after that? Nothing, right? So that's a super important part of the equation too, is giving them a solution. That comes on leadership in your offices to tell what are the solutions, what are the boundaries, what are the things that we can do. We should be talking about every single thing in the office. So again, when you get back with your teams, talk through that. When we are fully committed to patients, what's the scripting? When somebody walks in late, what's the scripting? When someone comes on the wrong day, what's the scripting? How do we handle this and keep the service level high? And if you kind of blindly turn an eye and don't ever talk about this in advance, you won't know what to say, nor will your team. You can't always assume everything's always going to go great, because you won't be prepared for the times it doesn't. Right? Does that make sense? We'll talk about service recovery a little bit later. I was, after another conference, down in Chicago and walking through a lot of stores, because I learn a lot doing that. Walked into Lululemon. Who's been in there? You guys know that place? Okay, a lot of people. Yeah, you know it well, right? It's a great place. So I walked in. The music is upbeat. Everybody's happy. People are buying yoga pants or whatever else they buy there. They're loving life. It's good. When I walked in, I was like, this feels cool. I kind of want to buy something. Everybody's happy here. I like hanging out here. And I really thought, well, what is making everyone happy here? Is it just what is contributing to this atmosphere? And the music, I really noticed. It was upbeat. It was fun. It got people in a great mood. And I thought in my mind, I'm like, that's the feel I want at our office. You might not want that feel. So you might, be like, I just want violins and cat music or whatever. But for me, I loved what they were playing. It was great. And so I thought, that's the feel I want. So I started Shazamming all the songs in there. And I created a playlist based on a lot of the songs that I was listening to there. I'll do it with H&M. You'll do it for other stores too. Do you think they've done research on what kind of music that people like when they go into a store like that? I think Lululemon takes that seriously? Absolutely. What oftentimes do we do as orthodontists? We play like our, 1990s prom mix that we had because we love the music, right? You're like, oh yeah, Dave Matthews, woo! But seriously, think about that. It's not you. It's the mood you're setting. It's the music that you're setting. You're setting a mood. It's not your time to jam. And so think about what are the stores that are doing that have that same feel that you want to mimic, and it's different for everybody. So now we have a Spotify channel that we've created, that we update weekly, that we allow patients to listen to too, because we can direct them to Collins Mixtape if you want to listen anytime. But that was from going into Lululemon. So I encourage you guys to start paying attention to experiences you have outside the world of orthodontics, and then go back and ask yourself, how can I? Not that won't work, because I promise there's so many ways. Do we have a question too? collinsmixtape.com. Yeah, you guys can all listen along if you want. We update it weekly. We got a lot of followers with that. So, guestology. What does that mean? So that's just understanding your guests, right? We're building this for our guests. So really, this is fundamental. I think a lot of you know that. You're like, duh, we know. But do we really, really break it down and understand for guestology what that means? Sometimes we just think, oh, it's just the moms, and we don't really dive deeper into that. Let's break it down even deeper. Stereotypes, right? There's something called stereotypes. And there's positive and negative stereotypes of orthodontic clinics, okay? And understanding what those stereotypes are is crucial to being able to exceed expectations, everything we've talked about so far. Because if you don't understand that, you can't do it, right? You have to understand what the expectations are. So what's a positive stereotype about going to an orthodontic clinic? Why do people want to come? Shout it out. So raise your hand. Is it anybody? Why do people? Beautiful smile. You know, I forgot, we've got some pretty sweet fanny packs we're handing out. If you answer something, I'm gonna get you a Collins fanny pack. We've got 10, and if you've answered something already in the talk, then go ahead and raise your hand and Lynn will get it to you. We've got 10 overall. Talk about throwback. So tag me in it if you post a picture. But yeah, so what else? What's another positive stereotype? Colors, right? Everybody have the kids that come in to like, I can't wait for blue and orange. Can't wait. What else? Fun atmosphere, right? Yeah, like upbeat, right? What else? Why do people go see an orthodontist? Exactly. Confidence. Confidence. My smile, how I'm gonna look. Kids with colors. There's positive parts of the experience. Those are positive stereotypes. So what you as an office need to do is go back and start talking through what that means, right? What is it, and how to accentuate the positive stereotypes. How can we lift those up in our practice? On the flip side, negative stereotypes. What are some negative stereotypes? Shout them out. We all know they're there. About going to an orthodontic clinic. Pain, yes. Cost, yes. What else? Rubber bands, what else? Power chains, yeah, okay, yeah, specific, I like it. What else? Time and braces, removing teeth. Look of braces on your teeth. Ever had the adult that comes in and is like, I cannot do braces on my teeth, oh my gosh. You know, right? All those things. So your job as an office isn't to eliminate the negative stereotypes. You cannot do that. You cannot guarantee no pain. You cannot guarantee that something's gonna show up in their teeth. But what you can do is mitigate them. Does that make sense? You mitigate the negative stereotypes. And how that works is, like, we flip things a lot at our office. So people don't like the look of braces on their teeth. So what we did is we launched a braces fashion guide. Thought that's kind of cool, right? Because what I was finding is you'd get the adults that come in and they're like, oh, I cannot have braces on my teeth. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, the clear, and then you're bonding one on there. And like, maybe, oh my gosh. And then you get them in braces finally. And what, 6 months in, maybe this happens to you guys too. They're like, can I get pink? Can I get teal? So now they're like, I got something fun coming up. I thought pink would look cool with the clear. And I saw this happening over and over again, right? So I realized that it was turning into almost like a fashion statement halfway through. So how can I clearly communicate that to people? Well, we launched a braces fashion guide. So there's seasonal looks, right? So our team sat down, it was super fun. We've got fall, we've got winter, we've got all sorts of things. We've got special occasions, we've got professional chic, and every color combination, we came up with all the color combinations and we named them like what? Lipstick shades. 9 to 5, that's what this color combo is called, right? And now no longer are they picking, red, white, and green. They're picking a trip to Rome, to Italy. It's an experience now. And if you can tie in the look and the color combination to an experience and to something that evokes emotion, now it's a fashion statement. Now it's no longer just the colors. Does anyone follow us on Instagram yet? Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys. At the Braces Guy, you can copy us. I don't really care. One thing we do on a daily basis when clinics open is do something called Colors of the Day. We create all those in-house. We take pictures of the ties that we have, and we match them with cool photos. But these are really cool because we evoke experiences based on the color combinations. Like, you can go look up today's if you want. Go to At the Braces Guy. I put one up today. It's rodeo themed, right? It seems appropriate for today. But we do different experiences, different looks, different foods, different things that evoke that, and people will screenshot these all the time and bring them in and be like, oh, I want this one. If you look in our highlights too, you can find a lot of them there in the Braces Colors of the Day. So that's on there too. And by the way, I know a lot of people ask me about social media and Instagram. Dr. Dovey's the king over there at this stuff, but I view it as the stuff we're talking about today isn't Instagram, it isn't Facebook. We love that stuff, I love it, we do a lot of it. But the stuff that we're talking about today is foundational items that I would never be able to get away without these foundational items. If I had to give up all our social media channels, but you let me keep our mission, exceeding expectations, all this stuff, we would do great still. So these are some of the items we're teaching you guys today, okay? So we're gonna talk about mission statements in just a second here too. And then you guys mentioned costs, the flexible financing. You guys gotta talk through this stuff as a team and help mitigate those negatives. So mission statement. Who thinks a mission statement's important? Nobody? Oh, a couple. I'm just kidding. Yeah, mission statements. I feel like this is, it is important. I didn't really understand the importance of this until, a few years back, but it's crucial. I think it's absolutely crucial to have a great mission statement. So remember a few years ago at a local meeting around the area, we had some dentists that were just hanging out, and there was one dentist that was talking about how they had this one employee that was so horrible, had to let her go. Everyone was kind of getting riled up about it. Like, oh yeah, because there's all a bunch of doctors, that's orthodontists, and dentists and specialists from the city. And I remember, oh yeah, you gotta fire her. And they were all talking about how they were gonna fire her and she can't anticipate his needs and all these different things that were going into it. And I remember that I kind of kept quiet and they got to me and I remember him asking, he's like, well, you've been kind of quiet. What do you think, Collins? I said, do you want my honest opinion? He kind of looked at me like, yeah. And so I remember asking him, I said, before I give you my opinion, may I ask, what's your mission statement? And just silence, nothing. Then it, followed by that, just went into a big monologue about how mission statements are dumb. But I knew that at that point, it wasn't an employee problem, it was a leadership problem. Because my argument is, because what are most mission statements? Most mission statements, they're sitting in a book at the front somewhere, right? They're in your employee manual, collecting dust somewhere. They're like 2 paragraphs long. And you read it once a year and you read through it, you're like, yeah, that's totally us. Yep, I agree with that. And then you put it back, right? I mean, honestly. So my question for you is, how can you expect your team to live and breathe a mission statement if you don't even know it or your staff doesn't know it? You can ask any of our staff anytime what our mission statement is. They will be able to tell you by heart what it is, right? Ours is service to others. It's simple. Everything we do revolves around it. The way we hire, the way we greet people, everything we do revolves around serving others, okay? And that's important. When people walk through our door, we don't even have to tell it. I don't have to put it up on the wall for someone to read what our mission statement is, like we strive to be this. Nope, they feel it. When people walk, I tell you, I'm like, hey, you haven't experienced Collins Orthodontics till you come and just feel it, that energy. So everyone who gets to the door feel, wow, this place is different. Holy cow, the way she greeted me, eye contact, smile, pleasant tone of voice, the way she did this, the way they brought me back, everything feels like service to others. And we've recruited people who line up with that mission. If your mission, I always tell people, I'm like, hey, if your mission isn't that, as a person, you will hate working at our office. But if your mission is that, you will love working at our office. And our goal is to find people who line up with that. Does that make sense? So I have some tips on mission statements. Here's a mission statement I found. Do you guys think this is a good or a bad one? Yeah, way too long, right? This is kind of like a job description. I apologize if this is anyone's mission statement I snagged from online. I'd really like to know. But yeah, this is very long. This is talking about all your practice goals, all your things that you are kind of airing it all out for everyone to see. This is maybe a behind the scenes type of thing. And there's no way your team can memorize all this stuff. And some of it even, it's just kind of like our goal is we want to be the best orthodontic clinic. That's great, but what does that mean? When you recruit the best orthodontic clinic, what does that mean? For us, when we recruit service to others, we're looking in the service industry. We're looking at people who thrive in customer service environments, who love giving to other people. Once I find those people, it's like, wow, you're a fit with our culture. Let's talk, all right? What about these mission statements? Are they better? Yeah, first one. The needs of the patient come first. I know a few of you might know this. Where's that one from? Do you guys know? Which company? Mayo Clinic, yeah. So you guys know Mayo Clinic, right? It's the top-rated hospital for years and years in a row. They are phenomenal. I mean, it's in my hometown, so we know it well. But so they have well over 30,000 employees within the hospital system right in Rochester. Do you think every single employee could probably say that mission statement? Yeah, it's simple, right? You're going into the lunch hour. Oh, what's our needs of the patient come first? Yep, that's who we are. It's very simple to know. They are a brilliant company. They have that down. So these are some smart companies here. So short, concise, and really matches up with what your vision is what I'd recommend. The next one, you can read through these yourself, but this is, anyone know the next one? Amazon, yeah. How about the last one? This was Apple back when Steve Jobs was in charge, okay? These are clear, they're well-defined. It's what the companies are. Do you think Amazon and Apple, I know they've had some public issues too lately, but do you think they, for the most part, know what they're doing as companies? Yeah, right? They have their mission statement too. So just remember, a mission statement isn't an ad, it's not a job description. Just make sure that you have a clear mission for your team so they can feel it. Anyone know what common purpose means? These are from Disney, by the way. Disney's brilliant at this stuff. They're the smartest company I know at this kind of stuff. Common purpose, you guys know what that is? How it differs? So what's your mission versus what's your purpose? Think of it this way. The mission is the means to achieve your greater purpose. So in my perspective, so service to others is our mission, right? Our purpose at our office is simple. We want to create a place of rejuvenation and happiness for our patients and our team members. That's it. They all know it. So now let's put it together. Service to others so that we can create a place of rejuvenation and happiness for our team members and our patients. Makes sense, right? Very clear. Everything we do revolves around it. What I would suggest for you guys, it's okay if you don't currently have a mission or you get along, whatever. It's okay if that's where you're at. I was there too, but I can tell you we would not have grown to 17 employees this quickly, and we would not continue to grow at the rate we have if we didn't have this crystal clear in our office. Right? Your employees, there's only so much excitement. You guys know the books by Simon Sinek? Start with Why? Who's read that book? Right? Okay, the what, the how, and the why. The what, it's what we're doing on a daily basis, right? So for us, what we do is braces. Every orthodontic office should know what they do, right? The how is the next step. Those are the processes you set up, right, in your office. How things happen. So how someone's greeted when they walk through your door. How you bring them back. Your scripting. All your systems, that's your how. Most orthodontic offices have some knowing of what their how is, right? The why is the last one, and that's the whole point. It's the whole purpose. It's what gets your team members up every day. Most orthodontic offices kind of push that aside. They're like, we're just going to get really good at our what, kind of know our how. I don't think the why is that important. And then they kind of use that to advertise their practice. Here's my what. We do braces really well, or we do this kind of brace, or that's great. But the reason why people come to Collins Orthodontics is because our why is crystal clear in every single thing we do, right? We know our why, our purpose. We know our mission. So I would really encourage you guys, if you don't have this, it's okay. I didn't at one point too, but really sit down as a team and ask, hey, what do we want to be? Who do we want to be? Because I can guarantee you, your team members will work very hard for you, but it would be very challenging without this. There's only so much excitement, right? You can get, like, we all love gluing braces on teeth, but I mean, seriously, I'm even an orthodontist, and I'm like, hey, gluing braces on teeth, there's only so much excitement and joy and fulfillment you can get out of just that. You gotta have something bigger, a greater purpose for what you're doing, okay? So I think that's important to understand your mission that way and your purpose. All right, so employees, training and empowerment, this is a big one. This is one of those areas that I think we get a lot of questions on that. How we hire, how we train. And I think this is an area where, I will just be honest, a lot of doctors, including myself, have trouble with. We were all trained to be kind of these control freak type people who are like, gosh, it's gotta be a millimeter this way, and really hyper anal about how everything needs to run. And so this is hard for a lot of doctors. So I'm asking you staff, be patient as your doctors are learning this. But employee empowerment is absolutely crucial to have a great practice. You can't be everything to everyone. And you've got so many team members that are so highly skilled that can take care of amazing things for your office that even you can't do. And so it's super important to understand this. I was on the phone with the dentist the other day, and I said, oh yeah, we were talking about a case. I said, oh yeah, can you send over the Panorex? I'll take a look. And he's like, well, I can't till lunchtime. I was like, oh, no worries. Just have your front desk send it over. And he's like, well, how's she gonna do it? I'm like, how's she gonna send over the Panorex? You guys haven't been over this? And I knew at that point that I'm sure there's huge, huge control and empowerment issues going on in that office. If you can't train, either your staff probably isn't in the right job if she can't send a Panorex and she's the receptionist, or you haven't taken the time to really train your staff to do great things and do simple things like that. So I knew we probably had some problems with that. So a lot of dentists have problems with this. Ritz-Carlton, another one. We're going to talk about Ritz a lot today too. Ritz-Carlton, they surveyed employees. They said that the number one reason why Ritz employees love being there, it's not the vacations, it's not the pay, it's not the benefits, it's because they feel empowered to take care of the guests. Do you guys know how much money per day Ritz-Carlton employees are given to make things right for their guests? Yeah, $2,000 per day. I kid, this is truth. This isn't a rumor. I've taken the Ritz-Carlton courses. This comes straight from them. $2,000 per day per guest to make things right. Could you imagine, as a team member, getting that kind of empowerment to make things right for your patients? So cool. I'm not saying go tell your doctor to give $2,000 per day per guest, but the concept is there, right? What about $200 per day per guest? Is that hard? So think about that. Do you think they use $2,000 every day? No. You probably use $5 every other week to make something right, but the empowerment is there. They have the opportunity to do it and do great things. And they're not having to say, oh, I got to go talk to my manager. That is listen, that is a huge killer. If you're having to make your team members always say, I got to go talk to the doctor or the office manager before making something right for your patient, you are shooting yourself in the foot. So let's say at a Ritz-Carlton restaurant, right? There's two businessmen come to have lunch. They enjoy lunch together, and they both order a bowl of soup. Okay? And so let's say they get their bowl of soup, and one of the businessmen says, she talks to the waiter and says, hey, I really don't like mine. Do you mind swapping it out, and then I can get what he's having? His looks better. And then the waiter says, I don't know. I'm going to have to go talk to my manager. So then you got to go talk to the manager, right? So here's the rule. For every person you have to go talk to, you should be putting a 0 on the end of the value of whatever you're having to replace for them to make it right at that point. So you're taking a $5 cup of soup at this point and turning it into a $50 meal comp at a 0. So manager comes, and now we got to comp the meal, right? So the manager's like, well, I think we can comp the meal, but I got to go talk to my supervisor, right? So now we got to go get the supervisor. And what happens at this point? A $500 weekend at the Ritz is probably what you got to do to make it right to this point, because that person's probably going to miss their entire lunch over a $5 bowl of soup, right? So as doctors, what I'd suggest is to go through these things, show them where your empowerment areas are. So you think through, how can I, in an orthodontic clinic, empower my team members to make things right when needed? You know, if someone shows up late, let's say, for instance, let's say someone shows up and we did an indirect bonding in metal, and they're like, I thought we got clear, right? You got two ways of handling that. You can go, I got to go talk to the doctor and make sure it's okay with clear and see if you've actually paid for it. This isn't abused as much as people think it is, I promise. Or you could just empower your team member to just be like, yeah, we'll take care of that. No problem. You got to make that stuff seamless, because you're going to draw way more attention to something and really devalue your service in so many different ways if you got to go talk every single time about things where mess ups happen. Right? It just is so important. So find areas in your clinic where you are able to make things right. We empower our team members in so many ways. I kid you not, $200 per day per guest is fine. That's fine. But we want them to make things right for our patients. That's important to me. It is. And it's important for customer service as well. Do you guys understand what values are for, or what values are? Does anyone have values in their office? So values. So I think a lot of times values, we get like a big list of words we think kind of describe us again. We're like, oh, these words seem awesome. Like we're generous and we're compassionate and we're kind. So I view values a little bit differently. All right, I view it under the employee empowerment category. All right, we're going to take Disney again, for example, okay? They've got 4 values, and this is for every department of Disney. I don't care if you're going on a Disney cruise or you go whatever you're going. They've got 4 values: safety, courtesy, show, efficiency. right? Safety first, always, right? So they have it in that specific order for a reason, because they help with decision making for their team members. So when they're given, when they're given different situations, they know what to do. Does that make sense? So safety, think about that. They know that a safe guest will be a happy guest. They're all about happiness at Disney World, right? So they put safety first. Does that make sense? Then is courtesy. So after everyone's safe, courtesy's next. Everyone receives a smile, eye contact, pleasant tone of voice. They will always greet people. They will be courteous to their guests. Next is show. That just means you're show ready. It's kind of a confusing one. So for performers, they're prepared for their performance, right? They're dressed appropriately. Their area is clean. Show. And then last is efficiency. So they're being mindful of their resources, time, and materials to make the most of their guest visits. So let's pretend we're in an orthodontic clinic for a second. What does that look like? And how does that help with decision making? So let's say you are the sterilization coordinator or your clinical assistant, and there's 3 things going on at once. We've got steriles backing up, somebody's walking through your door, a new patient's walking through your door, and everyone's tied up on the phones, and one of the patients, little Billy, is playing with the dental drill. What do you do first? Dental drill first. Why? Safety, right? What do you do next? Do you go greet the person, or do you take care of sterile next? Greet. Why? Courtesy. And then we got sterile last, right? Because we don't want things piling up and patients walking by and seeing what that looks like. Show. Simple, right? So if you think like Disney, you don't have to have the same values as Disney, but think that way and think of values as a way to help with your decision-making process, to empower your team members to know what to do in those situations. Because otherwise, how are they supposed to know? They can't read your mind as doctors. We get frustrated as doctors all the time because how could she not anticipate what I wanted her to do? Well, you probably haven't set up a mission and purpose and guidelines and values and everything to empower them to do what you need them to do. And they're not going to read your mind like as much as you want them to. They can get to know you really well, and that helps for sure, but setting these up will definitely help. Does that make sense? That's what values are for in general. I get a lot of questions about hiring. I won't spend a ton of time on this today, but hire for attitude, 100%. We do hiring a little bit differently at our office. I find people who will fit our mission and our purpose and our serving others. I find those people first, and then I figure out their job later. Does that make sense? When I identify somebody that I think could be a good fit in our culture, service to others, create a place of rejuvenation and happiness, I say, wow, you'd be a great fit. So has anyone done a recruitment video before? I highly recommend this, by the way, if you have not done a recruitment video. Because what happens, if you try to recruit somebody, I kept finding I'd sit down with this potential recruit, right? This potential dental assistant or a admin team member, and I'd sit down and be like, we're awesome. You're gonna love us. Like, we're super friendly. You get like, trust me. But what do you think every owner of every company is probably telling them that, right? Of course they're gonna say that. I don't care who they are. Every owner of a company is gonna say their company's awesome. So I thought, what if we created a recruitment video that showed our team members, our employees, talking about what it's like working here? Like a testimonial video, right? And I told my team members before we recorded this, I said, look guys, be honest. I want you to be honest what it's like working here. And so I said, if it's hard to work here, let's say that. If it's rewarding or fulfilling, say that. Because I want to weed the people out that aren't going to fit into this culture. I want people, we have a recruitment video, go to collinsorthocareers.com, you can go check it out. It has been huge. So now when I sit down with somebody, I've identified someone who I think could be potentially a great fit. We send them the video, right? We send them the video and we say, when we meet with that person, we say, what do you think about the video? And now I don't have to explain our mission, our culture. That's all been done by my team in the video. And now it's more questions for me at this point, and now figuring out what positions they would be great in. So does that make sense? Hiring is so important. It is so important. We could not be what we are today without it. I'm happy to answer questions at the end about a little bit more about hiring, but hire for attitude, not experience, okay? That's what I would say with that. We had our TC do one thing that was kind of a wow moment and an employee empowerment the other day. Our TC had a new patient come in at the end of the day, 4 p.m., right? And this mom was so stressed. And because her kid, we're like, hey, are your kids ready for braces? Like, we're happy to get the process started, but she's like, I got so many places I gotta be tonight. I gotta go take my other kid to volleyball, and then I gotta go pick up my kid here, then we gotta go back to volleyball, we gotta do all this stuff, and she was super stressed. So our TC said, you know what, we'll take care of everything here. As long as you've given us the thumbs up, we'll go ahead and take care of your kid here. Why don't you run your errands and come back? We'll have everything ready to go when you get back. And so she's like, okay, I think that'll work. So mom leaves, and I remember, mom comes back finally, we had everything ready to rock, but our TC had also purchased dinner from the little bistro next door for the entire family. And she said when mom came in, she's like, oh yeah, I know you're super busy tonight, and I bet you guys don't have time to actually go get a meal. So we went ahead and we bought a meal for you and your family to enjoy when you go back to the volleyball game. Don't worry about it, we got everything else taken care of, right? So many things there that are super cool. Wow moment, step off task as long as it's on purpose, employee empowerment. Did I go to her and be like, who charged our credit card those meals? I mean, no, we celebrate that, right? That is so important. She didn't have to come talk to me. She didn't have to come say, well, I'm thinking about doing this and I wanted to run this by you. No, she just did it. I heard about it later and I loved it. Do you think that mom went back to the volleyball tournament and just gushed about it they're like, you won't believe who bought us this, right? There it is. That's your moment. That's the category you want to. That's the exceed expectations. We didn't need to do that, but that was really cool. That is important, to empower your team to look for those moments and then encourage them to do it. Even if it's not what you thought you would do, encourage them to do different things like that, and that's important. Another opportunity, it's at a restaurant that this couple was at. This couple was there. They were going to be getting engaged, right? And so it was their 5-year anniversaries that they met, and it was going to be 5 years ago. They had met over, the waiter found out, they had met over a piece of red velvet cake in a New York bakery. So the waiter found out about this, so he goes to his manager, he's like, I know what I'm going to do, employee empowerment. I am going to comp the meal for these guys, because they're going to get engaged tonight. Think that was a good idea? Yeah, it's okay, yeah. But the manager's like, no, you can do better than this in this case. Because you think comping a meal in this case would be memorable? Probably not so much. But what if, right, you talked to the chef in the back and you said, hey, I know red velvet cake isn't on our menu, but what if we did this? What if we created a red velvet cake like the one that they had met over in New York City 5 years ago and delivered that to them on this special day, right? So what they did is the chef's like, yeah, we're all in, right? So they did it. They wrote out the recipe on some custom, beautiful, paper that was part of the company, and they brought it out to the couple and surprised them. They're like, hey, you know what? This dessert's on us. We know you met over this red velvet cake. We thought you could enjoy this every year for the rest of your lives because here's the recipe for it. Sweet. That's your wow moment. Comp a meal or do something like that. So empowering your team to be able to look for those moments and run with it. Send the dog treats in the mail. Look at the photos. Look for those opportunities, right? Those are your wow moments. And that's what makes customer service that elevates the experience. That's what we focus on at Collins Orthodontics a lot, all right? So it's important to understand that. Now we're going to talk about something that's uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about, immediate service recovery. The reason why it's uncomfortable for a lot of people is we get so excited about talking about when things go right. It's easy to talk about when things go right, but what about when we have to talk about, well, what do we do if things go wrong? Talk about this stuff. You have to. You cannot get away with not talking about it. We don't want to, but we have to because we all think everything's going to go right all the time. You need to talk about when someone comes late, what do we do? When we're late, what do we do? When a bracket pops off for the third time in the day, what do we do? Right? You have to talk about it. When we can't get someone in and they want to get in, when a patient's upset, every single thing that happens, you need to know how to handle it and empower your team to do it. If we're running 5 minutes over, that the person that's sitting in the waiting room will be communicated to in some way. Like, give them a status update. Because you guys have all been in like medical, appointments. It's like an hour later, no one's talked to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here the whole day. You're getting frustrated. You have to go up, and you're like, how much longer? It's like you want to be communicated to, even if they're running late. You want someone to come out and talk to you. 10 minutes late, if we're 10 minutes over, we're buying them a drink at the bistro next door of some sort. We're doing something to service recover right away, right? And let's take, for example, let's say, a patient comes back third time in the same day where we've got brackets off. You think they want to be there 3 times in one day? Probably not. And so third time in a day, we have everything mapped out. We've empowered employees to say, hey, write them a card that says, hey, I know, Billy, we know you like seeing us, but 3 times in one day is probably not what you had in mind. How about enjoying a movie on us tonight instead? Movie tickets, slip them the card on the way out, and guess what? You take a very negative experience for that patient and try to flip it to a positive one. I can't get rid of the fact that they knocked brackets off for 3 times in the same day, but what I can do is help them moving forward, right? So that's great. So we had a mom one time that was frustrated, but left elated that happened, and she posted a picture on social media that says, best orthodontist ever, going to a movie tonight, with a picture of the card and the tickets. Does that make sense? So you have those opportunities. There's no company out there that's perfect. The things that make Disney better than any other company, and Ritz and these ones, is because they know what to do when stuff goes wrong. It's not like everything goes right all the time, at all. This is the stuff they're going through as a company. And this, as orthodontists, is so crucial to talk out, right? So go home and just talk through every little thing that could go wrong and what you would do about it, how you can, empower your employees, okay? Does that make sense? We had a great experience with Disney one time. Last year, actually, we were taking my son. Those of you who follow us on Instagram, you probably see my sons all the time. But my son, Caden, was turning 5. And we were going to take him on a Disney cruise because he loved Disney. He loves Mickey. He slept with this Mickey stuffy every night, stuffed animal. So we were going on this cruise, and we were going to stay overnight at one of the Disney resorts the night before the cruise. And so we got in. We actually flew in on Disney Air. So the nice thing about Disney Air is, like, when you get there, they actually take care of all your luggage because they know that's a hassle, so they're going to take care of that for you. And your luggage will magically show up at the hotel, which is awesome, right? So now you don't have to wait for it. Well, our luggage didn't magically show up at our hotel, and it was very late at night, and my son was, like, way overly tired. For those of you who has little kids here, anybody? Yeah, you guys know, right? When they're tired, it's like freak out about everything. So he was super tired and freaking out because what? He didn't have his Mickey stuffed animal that was in his luggage. So he would not sleep. I mean, you guys, parents know this. This happens. It's true. And so he was just freaking out. It's way past his bedtime. So I called down, and I was like, hey guys, my son is just, like, freaking out. Is our luggage anywhere near? Like, I know it's supposed to be here. And they said, you know what? We'll take care of it. Your luggage is on the way, sir. Hang up. Within 5 minutes, I had someone at our door. Knock, knock, knock. I open it. And we had the store manager of the store of the Disney hotel with a Mickey stuffy and said, hey, we know you don't have your luggage yet. This is our treat. We're going to give this to you so your son can go to sleep. That's immediate service recovery. Quick. They took care of it. Mistakes happen, right? But they took care of it. So he went to sleep. This was a picture of him. And he was out immediately. So we put it on Instagram, and it had 1,300 likes in a few days. So it was pretty cool. So do you think, again, that's another great point. So we put this on Instagram. They messed up. They made it right. Look what the picture I posted. And they get 1,300 likes about how great Disney is, right? Cool. That's awesome. That's a really great thing for that company. So that's kind of how that works. So start thinking of ways. You should talk through that, thinking of ways to immediate service recovery in your office. Okay? Here's our socials if anyone wants to follow us on anything. I didn't put our Spotify channel up here, collinsmixtape.com. Instagram is a great place. They all have different feels, guys. Dr. Dovey talked a little bit earlier today about tips he has for Instagram. One of the points he brought up, which is so important, is you gotta be you. You gotta be you. If it's not genuine, if it's not who you are, people will pick that up. So if you follow Dr. Prero, who is amazing on Instagram, his is gonna have a little different flavor than mine, but that's cool. We love and support each other, but we have different personalities. We've got different things that give people insights into who we are. If I tried to be him, it would just come off as really corny. Honestly, he's awesome at what he does because that's him. And the same, if he tried to do exactly what we are doing, same thing. So there's just be you, be genuine, and it gives people a behind the scenes look. I think Instagram's a great place for that. We give people a behind the scenes look at my family all the time, some stuff we're doing in clinic. We show people When we get braces off, Dr. Dovey's called it the Collins Reveal. We do that every day. You can see photos of our new patients. It's all in our stories. That's where we put a lot of that stuff. And we do a lot of family stuff in there too. Facebook's a little bit different flavor for us because it's a little bit different demographic. YouTube, we put videos up too. And you can go check out some of the videos we've done. We've got the recruitment video up there. We've got some cool stories. We've got one video that's just about to hit 1 million views, so we're pretty pumped about that too. So, do you have a question over there? Yeah, yep, we have the same playlist. We have different speakers throughout the clinic, and it plays the same thing. So that's a great question. Remember, our clinic is 1,131 square feet, so we got 2 speakers, and it's got the whole thing covered. So we actually just started, though, Throwback Thursday mixes, which we can make public to you guys, too. So we'll do different decades on Thursdays. People have fun with it. We get song requests. It kind of brings some of the moms back a little bit. So we'll have the opportunity to do that as well. So we'll do different decades. What's that? We actually go through all of that. We make sure none of the songs, we don't just pick a random channel. We create our own list. And we listen through everything. And if we have one slip through, believe me, I've got like 5 girls up in my face being like, hey, did you hear that? And I'm like, okay, yep, let's get it off. So it's pretty rare, but we make sure that there's no swearing that way. So go ahead and give us a follow. This is something we're pretty excited about. You guys, I'm super busy in clinic. We are going to be launching a seminars division hopefully in the next year, because what I'm finding is that there's a lot of people that are really reaching out to us via phone, via Facebook, via email all the time. And usually the questions are like, hey, can you tell me how you do customer service? And it's like questions I wish I could answer in a meaningful way on a Facebook Messenger, but I mean, we'd say customer service to such a depth, I would never be able to tell them what would actually be helpful in a Facebook message. I just can't, or an Instagram message. And so I just was getting frustrated because the amount of time I'd have to do talking to each person individually is huge. So we thought, we're going to offer some private coaching and some future events where we teach people more in depth. What we talked about today is the baseline. If you don't have this, it's tough to get into some of this other stuff and the specifics of the scripting and the specifics of immediate service recovery and wow moments and what we do. You got to understand the big concepts first. If you are interested in any future events, that's the email you should reach out to. I'm really bad at responding on Facebook Messenger. I'm sorry. So reach out. I'll probably direct you to that. Lynn at Rochester Orthodontics. Or if questions at all about future events or anything like that, we are going to launch it here hopefully in the next couple years. So we're kind of getting a feedback. And if you guys have those surveys, please go ahead and give those back to Lynn. She'll maybe go around and collect them in a little bit here too. And it's super helpful for me knowing what kind of stuff you guys want to hear about too. So does anyone have any? I'm open for questions. I think we got a few minutes if you want. Is good? Thank you guys.